with you there, but if you're a coach, do you take that chance?
Yes.
You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com. Anthony Adebayo, and the most accurate sports coverage. Scotty B's Fantasy 5.
We're different from any other sport.
His sophomore year. Comes back and says, you know what?
And your boy, Scotty B. What up?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good, but before we start, I gotta get the horns. Were those good horns?
Those are great horns. Pause.
Whoa.
Yeah, pause.
All right, so I'm this Off the Record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
It's your boy, Scotty B.
All right, man. So to say that we got a lot to talk about would be an understatement, right? And we gotta find a way to get it in within an hour, which I think we can do it. If not, then oh well. But before we go there, how was your weekend? How was your week? How you been?
Oh man, the weekend was good. I'm glad the week is basically over. And it's just it's been really exciting keeping up with everything that's going on with basketball. Of course, the Hall of Fame game. Saw that yesterday. It's a lot to dissect, man. It's a lot to talk about. So definitely exciting.
Yeah, man. The funny thing is, like, people, you see, somebody really hates a team when they go like crazy off of the Hall of Fame game. You know, it's just like, oh, the Cowboys are terrible, and I'm like, wait. First of all, it's the first preseason game. No one ever plays like a lot. And people were just getting all worked up, and I was like, man, these people are crazy.
They didn't have 16 of their starters. I believe they left them back in California at training camp. And you're right, it is preseason. Really, other than really that third game, first quarter, it all really doesn't mean too much, man. It's just situational football. You're trying to get good looks at certain guys to see if they're going to be on your roster. You know, preseason, it's not for your starters. You know,
right,
you know what you got with your starters.
Yep. It's like you're getting a look at the rookies, and you get the unsigned free agents, the borderline, the vets who, that could possibly help your team. You ain't looking at Dak or Zeke, a Cooper, a Roethlisberger. Ain't nobody worried about no Hall of Fame game. So they did play Claypool. He had that big play, which was a push-off. I think a blind man can see that it was a push-off. But it's preseason. But I think these refs, they better start calling those. Because, it was a blatant push-off.
It was blatant, but I've seen people get away with worse.
Good point.
But again, you got to look at who was on, who threw the pass. It was Mason Rudolph, Claypool. To be honest, he's their third receiver, but he probably plays like a legitimate number 2 or a legitimate number 1. You know, normally you wouldn't even have Claypool like out there. You know, it's good for him to get reps because I think this is only like his second season. Yeah. But based off of what he did last year, he really doesn't have to prove himself in the Hall of Fame game either.
Yeah. So it's preseason. I'm happy football's back. Like the actual games. We don't really have too many holdouts. Everybody is doing whatever it is that they're doing. But I did hear the news this morning. Josh Allen, 6-year extension, $258 million, $150 guaranteed. The boy got paid.
He got paid. He got paid.
Got paid. I mean, that he got a lot of money, man. And so what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on that with Josh Allen? Do you think he got too much? Do you think he didn't get enough? Is it right where it's supposed to be? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's right where it's supposed to be. I think it, sets the market up. If Lamar Jackson balls out this year and some of the other guys, I think it's a win for the quarterbacks. I think he definitely deserves it. I have not been a Josh Allen fan, but after last year, I was forced to kind of, you got to give him his flowers. I mean, he had a terrific season, and you saw that, he's going to be good for a long time. That wasn't a anomaly season. Like, he can make the throws if he has the weapons. He could definitely use his feet, and he's accurate. I think a lot of times, and you get on me about this all the time. I guess you understand football more from a coaching standpoint. Is after a year or two, I'd be like, yo, you got to move on from this guy. This guy doesn't have it. And he's one of those players I think most people were like, Josh Allen, I don't know. And then he just balled out. And he proved to everybody, like, hey, if you got a high draft pick as a quarterback, go ahead and give him to at least year 3 to see what you have in him before you get rid of him, man.
Right.
It panned out for Buffalo. I
mean, and of course, it always helps to have those weapons. Stephon Diggs clearly was a key cog to everything that Josh Allen and Buffalo was doing. And my thing is this: if Josh Allen, he won a division, he got 258. Lamar Jackson is about to cake up. I don't even think it ain't no. I don't know if it goes through the season and he doesn't get a new deal before. I think Lamar Jackson before game 1 is going to get an extension.
Oh, and no, you're right. You're right. They have to figure out how to get it done. Mm-hmm. If it goes any further than week 1, like you're mentioning, it's going to be a bad look for the Ravens. And
they're going to end up paying $300 million.
Yep. The longer they take to make a decision, based off of what Buffalo just did. Now, like if Josh Allen didn't have a contract, then you're talking a whole different story. Right. But if I'm Lamar Jackson, I go out and let's say you wait too long, you don't pay me, and I have I ball out. Not only am I going to tax you, but the market is going to be there for me to tax you. So, they need to hurry up and get that deal right.
I mean, eventually it's going to have to come like level out, right? I mean, because it's just, Dak got paid. And I mean, the Cowboys, they played themselves by doing that because they could have saved themselves probably almost $70 million. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You got like Lamar Jackson already won an MVP. He's won a division, I think, twice. I don't think he's going to win a division this year, but I also think he's still going to make the playoffs. I want to say he's made the playoffs every year he's been in the league, if I'm not mistaken. So every year he's been in the league, he's made the playoffs, and it's like, oh boy, like you got to pay that man. You got to. There's no questioning. I think at this point, it should be based on how many years we want to give them, instead of are we going to pay them? They have to. I don't think that's the question. I don't think that they don't want to pay them. I think that they just trying to figure out the years and the particular dollars.
Oh yeah, no, it's not one of them cases where they don't want to pay them, but like you said, they don't want to overpay them. But the thing about Lamar, and I think like what the Cowboys had to come to the realization of is franchise quarterbacks just they don't grow on trees, and they just don't just appear out of nowhere. So, if you've got a franchise quarterback, you definitely have to pay them. And if you have a above average quarterback, you've got to pay them too. And if you don't, I'm not going to say that you can't win a Super Bowl, but you're not going to be as competitive in all likelihood if you don't have an above average quarterback. If you do have an average quarterback, then you're going to have to at least have a good team around it. You know, a strong running game, strong defense, superior coaching. And I think those will get you over that. But if you got that quarterback, I think wasn't Tony Dungy. It might have been Tony Dungy that said it. He talked about how when he had Peyton Manning, that's knowing that you're going to have 21 points. Like no matter what happens in the game, you know that Peyton Manning is going to put up 21 points in his prime. That's huge. That's
damn. Yeah, I mean, yeah. And speaking of Hall of Fame, you know, that's Saturday. So the Hall of Fame
Saturday and Sunday.
Ceremony's on Saturday. And he says he's gonna have Brady there. Brady's gonna be one of his guests, which is interesting. They definitely had a rivalry. Yeah, I think they definitely checked each other's stats. It's like, you know, he had 5 touchdowns. Like, let me go ahead and try and throw 6. You know what I'm saying? And I think it was friendly, but it was Brady and Peyton, and you just trying to figure out, hey, you know, of course Brady got the 7 rings. Well, we'll say 6 because I think Peyton was there. I guess Peyton was in the league when he had 4, you know, and he retired since then. But I mean, at the end of the day, he still got 7, and that's the ultimate the ultimate joke. He got the big joker. He got in their rivalry. He has the big joker. Hey, I got 6 more Super Bowls than you. I'm sorry, 5 more Super Bowls than you. It's like, yeah.
Well, see, and I guess it is somewhat of a rivalry, and I guess tomorrow Peyton Manning to talk about it a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But I think that rivalry meant more to Peyton Manning than it did Tom Brady. Just because it was the story of his career, to where most people were saying before he got the first or even the second ring was he couldn't win the big one. And he kept running up against those Patriot teams, and Tom Brady kept figuring out how to beat them. I guess on the other side of it was Tom Brady. You knew Peyton Manning, as they kept would put up these Star Wars numbers during the regular season, where, you know, he'd throw a lot of touchdowns, he'd throw for a lot of yards, but it necessarily wasn't equating to rings. I guess on the other end for Tom Brady, it was like he was having team success and he was doing a fairly decent job. I don't even want to say fairly decent job. He was doing a great job of putting up comparable stats. But if you always looked at it, Peyton Manning had the better overall individual stats than Tom Brady. So that might have been more his rivalry, is like, oh yeah, I could put up these numbers too.
And I think that it came with the where they were drafted. Peyton was a number 1 draft pick. Brady was a 6th round pick. You know, what was it, 199 or something like that? So that makes a lot of sense. You know, that they kind of, it's almost like they pushed each other, and I don't think it's all about the Super Bowl rings, because winning Super Bowls are hard. I mean, clearly, you know what I'm saying, getting to a Super Bowl is hard. Dan Marino went in his first couple years. He went once and never sniffed it again. I don't even think he was close. He may have been in a conference finals. A conference championship maybe once after that, but for the most part, I mean, he never even made it to the Super Bowl again. And I mean, so you had somebody like John Elway who he would lose and lose in the Super Bowl. Then ended up getting a running game towards the end of his career, and boom, he a 2-time Super Bowl win. I think this is very difficult to win, you know, in the NFL. And so I don't think that having a Super Bowl, what just happened to my camera? Just having a Super Bowl championship, I don't think that's. I mean, when you comparing the two, I think you have to look at it as a whole. You can't just look at just look at the rings. You can't just look at the numbers. You have to look at the pieces that were with them. You have to look at the coaching. You know, I think I don't want to say that the coaching was even, but it was fairly. It was more even than a lot of people would say. I think that Tony Dungy was a hell of a coach. You know, and who's his coach after? Oh shoot. But even so, Tony Dungy and Bill Belichick, most will put Bill Belichick as the top dog.
I'm trying to think of that black guy that never says a word. What is his name? Jim Caldwell. That's his name.
Yeah. he definitely never said anything. He
never said anything.
But the thing is with him, he was compared to like other coaches, he was rather quiet, but he won. You know, even when he was, I think he got shafted in Detroit. And I know we're getting off on a whole another. I mean, he got fired going 9-7 in Detroit. So it's like, wait a minute, man. Like, it ain't like y'all known for winning and y'all putting up double-digit wins every year and y'all ended up going 9-7. You know, and they haven't even been close to that win total since he's been gone.
Yeah, he definitely got the shaft. But I want to get back to what you were saying about Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. I think you're right that it is extremely difficult to win Super Bowls. It is football. I think we've debated it a lot, but you know, overall, I think over the years, my mindset has shifted to where it is definitely harder in football to win a championship. But with that being said, a couple of things are a little bit different. The public's understanding and engagement in football has changed a lot since Dan Marino was playing. We hold the coaches and the GMs more accountable than we ever have, just because we understand the stats a little bit more. It's a little bit more obvious what decisions people are making. So we're able to evaluate the whole situation and be like, okay, well, you've got this generational quarterback. What are you doing to surround them with the pieces necessary for a Super Bowl? The thing with Peyton Manning and Tom Brady was they played in the same era and they played in the same conference. So consistently they were matched up against each other. You know, for years it was Tom Brady, Big Ben, Phillip Rivers, and Peyton Manning. At some point, one of those teams were going to be in the AFC Championship. And I'm probably leaving out a couple of teams here and there, but those four were always going to go head to head. So for him, it was important for him to, and most people would consider Peyton Manning on the Mount Rushmore of, you know, the greatest quarterbacks ever. He had to figure out how to get that done. So the margin of their statistics to where, you know, you've got Peyton Manning that had the outlier season when he first went to Denver. And I think he had a couple of good, really good seasons with the Colts. And then you've got the 2007 season that the Patriots had to where, I mean, they just both put up just crazy individual accomplishments. So, you know, outside of those 2 years, they're pretty comparable statistically. What separates them is the number of championships they had.
Yeah, I mean, because even it was at one point where I don't want to say Brady was a check down receiver, but can you call him? Yeah, I think you could call him a game manager. But it went from the time he got Randy Moss to pretty much to now. You couldn't stop that man. I mean, he's been putting up huge numbers, like huge numbers. So yeah, I mean, and at that point, it was like they're neck and neck. Like it wasn't even so. The thing that Peyton had over Brady for so long was my numbers are amazing. I mean, I'm throwing 4,000, 5,000 yards, going 12-4 every year. 12-4, 11-5, 11-5, 12-4, and I'm putting up all these numbers, and yeah, they'll go. They were in a weaker division. And he'll probably have 2,000 yards less than me, or 1,500 yards less than me, but he just won a damn championship. And it's like, you know, and I think that played a part in in Manning.
Let me ask you this though,
Mm-hmm.
and this is just from where I'm looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
Peyton Manning, to me, always had the better offense, the offensive pieces.
Right.
Even though Randy Moss played with the Patriots, he played 3 seasons or was it 2 seasons?
It was like 3 seasons. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 3 seasons. You know, Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne and Dallas Clark were just phenomenal. And then you go back to Edgerrin James, Marshall Faulk for the 1 year. And then he had the other running back with Adai, Joseph Adai.
Yeah.
So and then he's had a tremendous offensive line. You know, Jeff Saturday led that line. So Peyton Manning, to me, has had consistently the better offensive weapons, opposed to early on before Brady got Wes Welker and Amendola and Edelman and all those guys. He was throwing the guys like Deion Branch and no, I'm serious.
Deion Branch.
Yeah, he was throwing the Deion Branch. I'm trying to think of some of them other guys that he had to throw to, man. I can't even remember their names. It was just some of the running backs he had to play with was just. I mean, Belichick was signing those guys from other people's scout teams and just throwing them in there like, okay, well, they're smart players. And you're like, dang, yo, you can't get this man 1 star to play with. I mean, before he was throwing to Hernandez and Gronkowski, I mean, can you name this tight end? I mean,
no. So they did have some good tight end. They had a good tight end. I can't. I mean, they weren't. He wasn't as good as Gronk or Hernandez, but
was he throwing the Ben Coates? Did he throw the Ben Coates?
I don't know. That might have been before.
Yeah, it
might have been before Brady. Ben Coates. I mean, I would have to look that up, but I see what you're saying. I mean, but it doesn't matter.
Peyton, he got Corey Dillon. He got Corey Dillon.
But Peyton's offense before then was way better. It's not even close. And what you were probably harping on the defense, because now Brady always had a good defense.
Mm-hmm.
He always had a good defense, and Peyton not so much. He ironically he had a defensive player of the year as a teammate, but their defense, that's when he was the only one, and then their defense just went crazy that 1 year in the playoffs. But
he had an opportunistic defense. They would play to the levels of their competition. I mean, like you said, they stepped up huge during that playoff run, and they started like stopping people. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he definitely, we can definitely say Brady had the better defenses.
Yeah. So what do you think about this Hall of Fame class, though? I think this is a pretty dope Hall of Fame class. It's just weird because I think most of these guys that's in this class, like the players, like I feel like we've seen their whole career, and it's like, oh man, so you know what that means? It's like, man, it's like Kobe's going into the Hall of Fame in basketball. It's like, yo, we've seen these guys get drafted
with the Lakers, and he kind of wet the bed, didn't live up to the expectations while he was with the Lakers, and just to see him go and be Joel Embiid's backup for the veterans minimum, I just like, what are you doing? I felt like that the market was still it was teams out there that still wanted Andre Drummond, and right. I just felt like he didn't have to go back up Joel Embiid. It was just I don't know. It didn't make much sense to me.
So here's what people, I don't know if you agree with me. So they're gonna keep Ben Simmons, right? I think that's gonna end up being a keeping Ben Simmons type thing. So to have another big, I mean, ultimately he's gonna play the role that Dwight Howard just played, right? And but is he better offensively than Dwight Howard?
Yes, he is better. He's better offensively.
I mean, but he was crying about touches and playing time in LA. It's gonna be the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. He's not gonna. So with Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and Andre Drummond, you're not necessarily going to be able to run them all on the court at the same time.
Right.
You're going to run into the same problem that LA had, to where Anthony Davis and him together, it looked good on paper, but when you actually like saw it in person, it was just like, man, he's taking too much space up away from Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis needs room to operate, and Drummond is just down there. One thing our good friend Jamal said has always stuck with me about Andre Drummond is there's a lot of rebounds because he misses the ball a lot. And
right.
I mean, he misses a lot of shots. So it gives him the opportunity to create offensive rebounds. He's not a good defender, which we saw DeAndre Ayton was eating. He was giving him work out there. So a lot of the things that he does statistically doesn't really necessarily help basketball-wise. He puts up good stats. Like I say, he puts up a lot of rebounds, and he'll give you 17 points. But he's not really a legit offensive threat. You know, he gets 17 points because he's playing 48 minutes.
Crazy, man. And so with Andre Drummond, you know, when at this point as a big, you gotta be able to add something else, right? And I don't think, and if you can't defend and protect the rim how you should be able to, what is the point of having you? Like,
right.
What's the point? You know, and like you said, it just takes up unnecessary space. So I don't know if Andre Drummond was what the Sixers needed. I feel personally that they needed Kyle Lowry. I feel like Kyle Lowry should have been who they were going after, and they didn't. They didn't go after Kyle Lowry, and it ended up being, now you're trying to shop Ben Simmons when you should have went and got a legit point guard, and that took pressure off of Ben Simmons. Instead of thinking, oh, let's get rid of him. Let's just listen to let's just trade him. When you didn't have to. All you had to do was get another point guard and coach this guy to do something. You know, be that Doc Rivers at this point right here. This should have been the task. This should have been his mission to say, I am going to turn Ben Simmons around. I am going to make sure this guy is able to shoot. I am going to get him a sports psychologist and all of these things to make sure that he's successful. But I feel like they were just so focused on trying to trade him when they didn't have to. They could have went and did all those other things. You know, he did say, "Oh, we got exactly what we want to do, or we exactly know exactly what we're going to do in response to making them better." And that sounds good, but all we heard all offseason is that he's getting shopped here. That they sent offers to multiple teams. There was one team, I forget the team, but they wanted back like 3 players, 4 draft picks for Ben Simmons. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. And I don't think it was Portland. It was a Western Conference team. And they wanted 3 players, 4 draft picks for Ben Simmons. And I was like, you are smoking dust if you think you're gonna get that for Ben Simmons right now after the playoffs or after that series that he had. It's like no. But instead of trying to make him better, they were just shopping him. And he has a dog as an agent. So he's like, all right, you want to shop? We're gonna shop him then. We're gonna get him up out of here.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a point, right? You know, if you come to me, if you're 76ers and you're the GM, and you come to me shopping me Ben Simmons, I'm going to lowball you every time. You're not going to get equal value back for Ben Simmons until maybe the season starts. There's a few destinations, and I think he does take a tough rap just with the way that he was unable to shoot. I think Doc Rivers and them initially said the right thing, but I think they are hell-bent that they are going to trade him. Where is he a good fit? I don't know. At first, I thought he could have been a good fit for the Wizards. He could have been a good fit for New York. I think most teams will utilize him. You just have to put shooters around him. He's not a shooter. And I think for the most part, Philadelphia did that last year, and they basically showed and they proved it to me because initially, before the season, I felt like the ball needed to come out of Ben Simmons' hands. I felt like the way the basketball is. It may not necessarily, though. It can stay in his hands if you put enough shooters around him. And I mean, I think the 76ers were kind of demonstrating that this year is we'll go out, we'll re-sign. They re-signed Danny Green. They had, what's his name, the Curry boy. That was shooting. Yeah. The person that they need to be trying to move it over is Tobias Harris. That's the person that I'd be trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Who I could get, if I could get some value for him, like, and I think it would be a little bit easier to move Tobias Harris than Ben Simmons.
You think so? I think it'd probably be easy to move Ben Simmons. I don't think nobody want to deal with that Tobias Harris money.
Yeah, okay.
Tobias Harris is slowly making himself Nick Batum. He's slowly making himself Nick Batum, and but we can clearly see that like Tobias Harris could play. I like seeing Ben Simmons in Philly. I like it. I think that but he has to shoot the ball. Even if you don't make that jump, you got to shoot the ball. I mean, how much longer can they go without him shooting the ball? I think that if you bring him back, if he's not shooting the ball, but here's the thing, because if he's not shooting the ball but attacking the glass, you know what I'm saying? Then attacking the basket, then we good. But eventually everybody's gonna just pack the paint. And that be that. And that messes up Embiid because now Embiid got to come all the way out to the free throw line. I mean, the 3-point line and shoot those stupid threes that he shoots. And it's like, and people always say, why don't you go down low? Well, he can't because everybody's packing the lane because Ben Simmons is not taking any pressure off him.
Yeah, but if you put those shooters out there and you spread those shooters out, it offsets the defense a little bit because now you can't pack the lane. You can just flow with the shooters, and I think that's what they were trying to do. But ultimately, you're right. He is going to have to figure out how to shoot the ball, and there's ways that you can still cover up defensively, to where you could force him to shoot it. If he's not going to shoot it. So yeah, he's definitely holding them back. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. I like what the Knicks were able to do. They got Kemba Walker for the low, and they didn't have to give up anything. And if he works out, he works out. But he's definitely we need him. I like what they did with Randall. Re-signing Randall, Evan Fournier. I thought that was a good pickup. Hopefully tonight the USA team figures out how to contain him because he ate them alive in that first game.
Hey, I'm telling you now, and we about to get into some Olympic talk. I'm telling you now, mark my words. U.S. by at least 15.
Oh, easy. Oh
Really,
man,
I didn't think you were going to go there, but
oh yeah. They're going to put Drew Holiday on Evan Fournier, and Kevin Durant is just going to go out there. He's going to shoot.
man,
He's going to shoot them back to France.
this man Scott surprises me every time. I definitely thought he was going to be like, nah, I think it's going to be a close game.
Oh no, I think they're going to figure out how to get him up out of there. I think the U.S. has found their stride. I think for a while they were trying to figure it out, and they couldn't really make the adjustments. But I think they just kind of realized that they've got so much talent that it's just one of them things to where you don't need to figure out anything. You don't need to figure out chemistry. Like, you have 12 legitimate like stars. I mean, maybe not so much JaVale McGee.
10.
Yeah.
10 All-Stars. Yeah, 10, I mean, you shouldn't lose with 10 All-Stars. You should not lose with 10 All-Stars. You shouldn't. So, but before we get to that, let me just go back real quick because you were right. It is Atwater, Steve Atwater, Isaac Bruce, Steve Hutchinson, Edgerrin James, Palomalu, Bill Cowher, Jimmy Johnson, and then you got Harold Carmichael and Jim Covert. So yeah, that's a class of 2020. So yeah, but anyway, Olympics. So U.S. found their stride. They were down 15 the other night.
Yeah,
that joint evaporated faster than damn. I want to say one of those corny analogies like Kendrick Perkins. I'd be like, man, you don't shut that. Anyway, it was just be terrible. But yeah, man.
So
I think
you saying that Kendrick Perkins got his intern. He got the super intern, right? He got the intern writing his jokes.
Somebody is, and it's like
somebody is. I wonder who's always writing.
Maybe it's him.
I always wonder who's writing Ryan Clark's stuff.
Oh, on Twitter, I think he's coming up with his own stuff.
You think he's coming up with that?
Huh?
You think he's coming up with that?
Yeah, I mean, possibly. I mean,
RC got some good ones though. He got some good ones.
Yeah, but as far as like the Olympics though, it's weird because like probably like that first week of the Olympics, which was what, last week or the week before. But the first 5-6 days, I didn't watch a thing, like basketball, because like all the men's games were coming on Peacock, and then they'll show the replay, and I felt like, why are they not showing the men's games? I watched all the women's games for the most. I watched not all, but most. And I think they're just too powerful for any of these other women teams. They're just too powerful. The men are gonna win gold. I think that they won at France. They lost to France in the World Championships a couple years ago, and they lost to France their first game, but. I think it was a little unfair because Devin Booker and Devin Booker,
Middleton,
Middleton, they had just got there like a few days ago. Now I don't even know if it was a few days. So I think that played a part, and let's not be fooled. After Kevin Durant on this team, it's Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is carrying this team, and he. I mean, Devin Booker's put up some points, but Drew Holiday has been he's been the transmission. He's been the transmission, and Kevin Durant's been the engine.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can't disagree. I think like you said, they've got all their guns. I think it was a bad thing for the USA to lose to France so early because it put them on their radar. And like you said, it got them to the point to where it's like, you know what, we got something to prove. Let's go ahead and beat up on this team. I don't think it's going to be close. I think they're going to try to embarrass this team.
I agree. I agree. And I'm being nice with the 15. Because here's the thing.
It's about to get ugly.
Yeah, because here's the thing. So, Evan Fournier, he went to he signed with the Knicks, right?
Yeah.
So he signed with the Knicks, but forget all of that. You got 10 of these guys that are all-stars looking at this dude like, oh, he really think he's legit. I think they are going to put on a full court press, and they're going to, like you said, they're going to try to embarrass France. Like, I think that they would have been, and they would have had a little bit of a letdown had they played Slovenia. And I feel like Slovenia would have gave them problems in the first quarter just because Luka is Luka, and the other guys know that Luka is Luka, and they're playing team basketball, and they all know their roles. It's like for Slovenia, they're not good enough. But they wanted France because France is feeling themselves, and they wanted France. I'm almost certain that they wanted France bad. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying that. I was.
Yeah, Batum. Yeah, Batum. All those guys.
All these guys is like they're probably saying to themselves, "Man, this dude's stealing money." Like, he's stealing money, and you think you making some noise? Yeah,
it's about to be ugly.
So give me a score.
90-62 US.
Okay. That would be at least 15. So
we're gonna see it. So it's gonna be tonight here. So it comes on at 10:30 here.
It's 10:30 or 12:30?
It's 10:30, and then it's gonna be, I guess, 11:30 there.
Okay. So I'm saying this. I think that the U.S. scores more than 90 points. I think they have around 112. Right? Because they play 10-minute quarters. They're going to be a focused bunch. I think 112. And I know I said 15 because I was being nice. But I think 112 to like 85. And I feel like that 85
is generous.
Yeah, 110 to 85. 110 to 85. And I think they get a lot of garbage time points. They put Keldon Johnson, who's actually a pretty good player. I think they won by damn near 30. That's what I wanted to say initially, but I was being nice. And when you didn't, and when you weren't, and when you weren't nice, I said he's not gonna out not nice me.
So look, I got a question for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Lakers made a splash. They got Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
Wizards get Spencer Dinwiddie. Was that a good look for the Lakers getting Russell Westbrook?
Say that one more time.
Was it a good look for the Lakers getting Russell Westbrook? Like, do you think it improved them? Do you think it set them back? What are your thoughts on that? Okay.
Yeah, I think it improved them. I think that Russell Westbrook. I think that Russell Westbrook is gonna have a year. I can't even say a year like no other. He done averaged for a triple-double 4 separate seasons. I think that he's gonna be super focused, and I just think that the icing on the cake is that KD and Kyrie are in Brooklyn. I think that's just the icing on the cake. I
will say this about Russell Westbrook. He has played with, or is going to play with, the top tier echelon of players of this generation. He's played with just about everybody. With Durant, he's one of the few people that's going to be able to say he played with Durant and Westbrook. And LeBron and Harden, Paul George. I mean, like he's played with Anthony Davis, like Bradley Beal. I mean, like he's played with talent. Yeah.
Golly. Keep on going, because who else he played with? Ibaka.
I mean, I don't think. Yeah, Ibaka. I don't think people consider Capella an all-star or anything. He's played with Carmelo Anthony. This would be his second stint with him.
Who?
Russell Westbrook.
OKC. I forgot. Yo, oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's played with like, and it's a host of other people. Like, if you really sit down and you think about it, and one thing that I will give Russell Westbrook that a lot of people don't is all those stars still put up their numbers. They still consistently do what they need to do. The outcome may not, huh?
No, I said I never understood the ball hall thing.
Nah, I mean, he's played with Durant, and Durant has figured out how to get 30 points. Like, you can only be so much of a ball hog if the person next to you is not getting their shots. Bradley Beal still averaged over 30. Harden, the year that he was in Houston, still figured out how to average over 30. Paul George, arguably, other than last season, had his best season with Russell Westbrook. He definitely the ball may not go where a lot of people may think it should go, and I think he gets a bad rap because he's not the best shooter. But you can't say that the ball stops when it's in his hands, when guys are able to put up 30 points next to him.
It's crazy.
Consistently. Yeah, consistently.
No, I agree, man. But where do you see this team going?
Championship. I think they're gonna add a couple more guys. They're Ariza, Carmelo, Dwight Howard. I think are good additions. They're going to get some young players in there. They kept. I guess. Huh?
They got Malik Monk.
Yeah, they got Malik Monk, which I think he's just like KCP was. I mean, what they gave up for Westbrook, I think the Wizards got a lot out of, because Spencer Dinwiddie is going to play better with Bill if he can come back and be the player that he was before he got hurt. Harrell, I think this gives him another opportunity. He's got defensive issues, but he's not going to be in the spotlight as much with the Wizards. I think Kuzma is probably needed this opportunity. He could probably end up like a Brandon Ingram or Julius Randle, like, one of those guys when they step away from the big lights, or even Lonzo Ball, that they start balling a little bit more. And then KCP, he's going to be KCP. Huh?
I said he said got a chance to ball, and they balled out, and he was talking about Lonzo Ball. I said no pun intended.
Yeah. But, I mean, he definitely was better than he was with the Lakers. So
yeah. I mean, he was super young. I mean, he got traded from the Lakers when he was like 20 or 21. So here's the funny thing. I know we're about to get up out of here. I got two things. I think that the Wizards have a playoff roster.
I do think the Wizards have a playoff roster.
I think that last piece of getting, and they may make a move or two, but I think that last piece of getting Spencer Dinwiddie to pair with Bradley Beal and Kuzma and Montrez, then you still have Rui from that's still there, and some of these other pieces. They still got the other shooter that won the
Bertans.
Bertans. So they got some pieces, and this roster as it's constructed right now is better than last season's roster.
Oh yeah, because like you said,
got something to work with.
Yeah, like you said, I mean the glaring gap was just Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal. So getting rid of Westbrook allows you to bring in somebody that is going to be able to play with Bill a little bit better, to where they're going to be more complementary, and they were able to get some pieces out the deal to fill out the roster a little bit more. So I think they're going to be. I mean, they're not going to turn their heads. Like, they're not. The East has gotten stronger. I mean, you got the Bucks that's there. The Nets are going to come back healthy.
Yep.
You got to love what Miami did. You
Yep.
got to put Chicago in the mix. It doesn't look like the Knicks are going anywhere. And then I'm sure some other teams out there that I'm just overlooking.
You forgot about Philly.
Oh, yeah, Philly is there.
Philly? You didn't say Atlanta?
I didn't say Atlanta. I didn't say Boston. I mean, those are all going to be.
Yeah, but
I mean,
he's got some squads, man. I mean, that. Yeah, man. And so
that's 8 teams that we just named without even. I mean, because you got to put the Cavs somewhere in there. I mean, what they were able to kind of do, yeah, they'll be better. So
I don't think the Cavs are ready, but they'll definitely be better. So before we get out of here, I don't know if you noticed this. So, you know, I guess about 4 or 5 years ago, the whole Lonzo Ball, I mean, not Lonzo, but LeVar Ball, him saying what he said about Michael Jordan. He got one son that just signed to the Bulls, and he got one other son that plays for Michael Jordan. Go figure. Lonzo Ball, I mean, not Lonzo, but LeVar Ball knows what he's doing, y'all. He knows what he's doing, man. The irony that
thumbs down to Jordan, man. He offended the guy, Luke Longley, man. Did you hear about that?
Oh, that was hilarious, man.
It was Grimes, man.
Yo, that joke was funny. That joke, no. It may have been grimy. I don't know. I mean, it was a fact, so it happened. But he said, first quarter Luke had 12 points, 4 blocks, 4 rebounds. Yeah, I told him, Luke, now that's how you're supposed to play. They were up 16. Then the end of the game, he had 12 points, 4 rebounds, 4 blocks. And they lost by 15. Yo, that was hilarious, yo.
Yo, why they say Jordan?
I want to find that game because I want to watch that game.
Yo, why they say Jordan left Luke Longley out the documentary?
Because of that?
He just left him out, man. He didn't put him in there. They said Luke Longley. They say he was in Australia, and he said he knew he wasn't in the documentary because nobody interviewed him. To be in the documentary.
Damn.
They hit him with they had to do budget cuts, so it was too expensive to send the camera crew to Australia.
Yo, we gotta get out of here, man. We got
you gotta look, man. Luke Longley was like, it was like he ain't even play with the Bulls with the documentary.
Well,
oh man.
Yeah, so man, next week we'll be back. Same great time, same great channel. Follow social media, tongue twister. Follow us on social media. The Off the Record Show on IG, the OTR brand on Twitter, Off the Record on Facebook, and then you can follow us personally. Scott, you remember your IG?
I believe it's Scott Q Smith. That's it. Easy. I don't have to switch that up though.
See what I'm saying? All right. This is Off the Record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
It's your boy Scotty B.
All right, we out.
We out.
Anthony Adebayo.
With you there, but if you're a coach, do you take that chance? Yes.
You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com. Anthony Adebayo and the most accurate sports coverage. Scotty B's Fantasy 5.
different from any other sport.
His sophomore year. Comes back and says, you know what?
And your boy, Scotty B.